Have you ever wondered why, just when things seem to start going right, you mess it all up? Why you push away those who love you, sabotage your projects, ruin your chances, as if there's something inside you that hates your own happiness? Well, there is, and Freud shows that this enemy lives inside you. On the surface, you feel in control of your choices, but you don't decide. You're pulled by internal forces you don't even know exist. And the cruelest part is that these forces seem to know exactly where to hurt you. You don't sabotage yourself out of stupidity, laziness, or bad luck. You sabotage yourself because parts of your mind want to punish you. As Freud revealed, we discover that there are people in whom the faculties of self-criticism and conscience are unconscious and unconsciously produce effects of the greatest importance. Your saboteur is not external. It's a hidden, severe, invisible judge inside you, and it acts in silence. That judge was born when you were a child. Freud explains, the superego is derived from the first identifications with parental figures, and it absorbs the standards, prohibitions, and demands they embodied. In other words, you carry within yourself old voices from your parents, society, religion, voices that won't let you feel good for too long. And every time you get close to pleasure, they punish you. This mechanism has a name: repression. You learn, without knowing it, that desire is dangerous. Freud stated, the repressed is the prototype of the unconscious. And what is repressed returns, not as desire, but as self-sabotage, guilt, procrastination. That's why, when you get close to something good, you freeze. When someone loves you, you doubt it. When you have an opportunity, you delay. Because there's a part of you that learned that winning is betrayal, that being happy is dangerous, that growing means abandoning, and that part will do anything to keep you small. Freud wrote, a part of the ego may be unconscious, undoubtedly is unconscious. In other words, even what you think you control has already been largely programmed by past traumas. Your ego is not a king. It's a battlefield between forbidden desires and forces of repression. And why does this matter? Because only when you recognize that you're being sabotaged from within can you begin to free yourself. Freud said, in analysis, these trends which have been shut out stand in opposition to the ego. Self-knowledge begins when you stop judging yourself and start investigating. You are not your enemy. You're at war with parts of you that only know how to protect you the way they learned, and that is by hurting you. So, how do you escape? The first step is to recognize the hidden guilt. Freud called it unconscious sense of guilt, and showed that it acts like a debt you didn't even know you were paying. A debt to the past, to what you couldn't be, to what you were told you must not be. The second step is to give voice to repressed desire. What you silence, the rage, the pleasure, the ambition, the urge to assert yourself, all of it must come out of the shadows. Freud said, what is repressed returns. If you don't claim what you want, you will be destroyed by what you don't want. The third step is understanding that wanting to change is not enough. The unconscious doesn't respond to rational commands. It responds to deep symbolic and emotional processes. We can come to know even the unconscious only by making it conscious. Freud wrote, what is hidden in you needs to be brought to light, confronted, digested. Finally, you must accept that this pain has a reason. You don't sabotage yourself because you're weak. You sabotage yourself because, once upon a time, being strong was dangerous. Being loved was risky. Being free was unacceptable. And your unconscious learned to protect you by hurting you. But today, you can rewrite that. Not overnight, not without pain, but with courage, with awareness, and with compassion for yourself. As Freud concluded, the ego is not master in its own house. But now that you know that, for the first time, you can knock on the door and walk in.